Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm starting early because I want to make sure that the Wi-Fi is working. So if you guys could give me a thumbs up if it's laggy like last time. Hello, Eric G. Hi, Desert Rain. Hi, Oh Tiger Lily. Yeah, I guess I maybe should have changed the time. I'm sorry. Hi, Tawny C. Hello, it's so nice to see you. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes and, maybe I could figure out how to go back in and cut the live stream next time. Hello, Margaret Walter. Hello. All right, it sounds good. Yeah. Hi, Forensics. Hello. All right, cool. This should be a little bit better. Hello, Don Lambert. And hello, Crazy Eye. What's up, Dana? Hello. That's so nice to see you. All right. Well, if it gets weird, let me know, guys, because this stream, I'm definitely not going to tolerate it. Like Massimo's, kind of whatever. But if it starts getting weird, just tell me. Hi, May Brussels Project. So obviously today, hello, Helena, hello. Um, Obviously this subject matter, this is going to be like the only content warning that I give. This is, you know, I take everything seriously, but there are certain things that you can find a bit more humor in, and these topics are not, they don't really fall into that category. It's very hard to find humor in this. However, I do think that the considerations of the Process Church of the Final Judgment, aka Best Friends Animal Society, in the three situations that I have listed in the thumbnail are relevant. Hey, Soil Lodge, hello. This is just a starting point, though. This is not going to be exhaustive. This is going to be something that we can come back to in the future, right? And other people, if they want a starting point, then we have it all in one place. Because I've talked about Willowbrook. I've maybe touched on Yonge Street. I keep calling it Yonge. I've touched on Yonge Street. I've touched on Willowbrook. And I've hinted at the Atlanta child murders, but I haven't really discussed it intensively. So we're just going to broach each topic. But again, this is the only content warning you are going to get because I am not going to censor myself. All three situations are extremely, excuse my French, extremely fucking graphic and extremely sad. But I think that it's important because I do think that it's relevant. And I'm not here to tell anybody what to think, okay? I'm not expecting anybody to jump on board with me and say that, oh, you're absolutely right, because we're not going to get through everything today anyway. Right? We're not going to get through everything today anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and run the intro, and hopefully it's not super laggy, and we will dig in.
I'm coming to win, and all of my niggas be gunning, shooting for the top. Inside of that cocaine beamer, pushing it up your lane. Didn't have no daddy, so my uncle made me soak up his game. I keep it 100, cause my word is born in the hood, it don't change. Coming up from nothing, hustling for my money, now I'm gripping grain. I'm beating it down your block, setting up another shop. Gotta watch out for these ops, for the block is fucking hot. Putting money inside my sock, watching all of my pictures fly. Nickeling down me, bustin', then I promise that your body drop. Bitch, I'm snatching chain, blowing brain, I do my thing, ho. Looking at the devil in his face, I'm just a psycho. Creeping on the come up, so you know I got my lines low. Talking all the hand up, but you gon' taste all this ammo. Bitch, I'm snatching chain, blowing brain, I do my thing, ho. Looking at the devil in his face, I'm just a psycho. Creeping on the come up, so you know I got my lines low. Talking all the hand up, but you gon' taste all this ammo. Coming up out the bushes with a red dot. I'm aiming to kill, pushing the pill with the steel. Put in my pocket, rocket to your grill. Fuck how you feel, bringing the ruckus, ain't no time to sleep. Ready, Google with no passion, slit your throat and let you bleed. You want gunplay? Let them guns spray. But I promise you that this ain't what you want, man. I'm off that Novocaine, smoking propane. Hit him in the fucking chest and see the blood drain. I'ma kick dope, bro, me want all the smoke. Kick into your mama house for my 44. Bullet shells cap, dancing all on the floor. Bring me all the static, cause Gorilla wants some more. Bitch, I'm snatching chain, blowing brain, I do my thing, ho. Looking at the devil in his face, I'm just a psycho. Creeping on the come up, so you know I got my lines low. Talking all the hand up, but you gon' taste all this ammo. Bitch, I'm snatching chain, blowing brain, I do my thing, ho.
don't forget, we are out here fighting demons, y'all, and hopefully that was not super laggy, and I am not either. Hi, Seashore Mary. Hi, Rama Llama. Hi, Racine. And who else did I miss? Hi, Meatball. All right, I think I'm caught up. Okay, so I want to just start. Hi, Eric G, and I hope you have a blessed Sunday too, my friend. I'm glad that you're here. Purple robe guy, that is Cyrus Mejia, Father Cyrus, best friends. He's on their website right now. He's one of the founders. Yeah, nailed that one down. That's Cyrus Mejia for sure. When he was young, I've found enough pictures of him, and I think I have his slide on my Twitter in my like best friends process thread, whatever, it's pinned to the top of my profile. But that's him. Yeah. So I think that I want to start with, I'm going to kind of bounce around, guys. It is what it is, cuz I'm obviously like sitting on a bed with a desk pulled up next to me, and it's kind of uncomfortable. So just go with my flow, okay? I promise it'll kind of make sense eventually, but I want to show you guys first. This is an article that was referenced by Dave McGowan in Program to Kill, and I found it. I've actually found the original article that he references. And I think that it is very important for people to take this witness into consideration, because, I mean, you guys are going to see, but this woman was put under hypnosis because they were trying to discredit her, and her story stayed the same. We're not going to read this entire thing. I think it's like 17 pages, but I want you guys to see this because there were reports of cult activity and cult involvement in particular. So it's not me just trying to pin everything on the process, even though I know some people think that like that's what I'm doing. But so this is Those Bones Are Not My Child by Tony Cade Bambara. This was written on Monday, November 16th, 1981. And this is just an excerpt from the book. Not going to sit here and read the entire thing. You know what? Let me just jump to the page. I think I got to click it. Yep. Okay. See, I'm figuring this fancy PDF thing out. Look at me. Okay. I went too far. Too good. I'm getting too good. All right. So right here, this is where it starts. And again, this is an excerpt from her book. Okay. You're most especially trying to keep your mind off the murders committed since the arrest in June. Cases that match the 6 patterns devised by community investigators: clan-type slaughter, cult-type ritual murder, child porn thrill killing, drug-related vengeance, commando and mercenary training, and overlapping combinations. Now, I'm going to keep going down here. Right here. Last spring, through Roy Ennis, a witness had offered self-incriminating testimony that featured a cab-driving boyfriend. A member of a cult engaged in drug-induced sex and ritual murder, he'd boasted to the woman about his role in the child murder case. The witness, Shirley McGill, had been involved in the drug traffic end of the cult's operations. She'd witnessed the torture of youths and adults, bound and gagged couriers who had tried to deflect or had tried to shortchange. When a co-worker was killed, she'd fled to Florida. Her former boyfriend, the hack, had phoned her in the winter of 80 and 81, bragged that the kidnap murder ring would be changing its procedures in the spring. When the task force in spring began placing adults on the list of missing and murdered children and reported that the patterns of killings was changing, she'd read that as confirmation of the cabbie's boast and sought the protection of Roy Ennis's group. Cabbies joined the roster of suspicious characters: Vietnam vets, karate experts, dog owners, owners of vans with carpeting, anyone capable of lulling a child into carelessness or ordering a child into obedience, and remained there even after the task force issued an all-clear bulletin. Witness not credible, information unrelated to the case, cabbie not a suspect. A number of community investigators, struck by McGill's drug, sex, murder cult descriptions and by the self-incriminating nature of her story, were not so quick to dismiss her as a showboating hysteric. She was willing, she said, to be questioned under hypnosis. She claimed that she could locate sites used by the cult responsible for a number of abductions and murders of both children and adults, some of whom made the task force list, others who were only on the victim list assembled by independents. Further discussions with McGill had produced another reason to credit her story. Her account of threats and tortures shed light on the mysterious entries in various coroner's reports. Death by asphyxiation, precise method unknown. The method, disclosed in McGill's version, was a plastic bag shoved down the victim's throat, then withdrawn after. Caravans of independents had begun scouring the outlying environs of the city. The writer James Baldwin, a frequent visitor to Atlanta who'd been conducting his own inquiry, joined the searchers, as did Emory professor Sandra O'Neill, a cult specialist who had been examining the case from that perspective. In September of 81, a group had discovered ceremonial grounds littered with animal carcasses and marked by a pile of blood-stained stones heaped in the shape of an altar. A 12-foot charred cross was found nearby. By that time, though, only one out-of-town magazine expressed interest in the cult story. Atlanta authorities had already declared the theory groundless in general, the McGill version in particular. Now, there is more to this as far as she goes, but I'm not going to go through the entire thing right now. I'm just laying down some of this information. Is the stream okay? Sorry, guys. You're getting stalling. You made a live show. Hi, James Hondo. Hello, Mr. Alex. Hi, Annie Kurtz. Hi, Knight1118. Hello, Corrine Skipper. And hi, Brett Conley and AZ. Yeah, there's an interesting story, though, where they find that house and there's the Bibles opened up to verses about human sacrifice, and they're nailed on the wall. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of really crazy reports, and I don't think that it should all just be tossed out. And again, I'm not telling people what to believe, but this is something that is cited in Program to Kill by Dave McGowan, and I absolutely think that it's relevant, especially because she went under hypnosis. Now, if you guys have been on my Twitter, I posted just a screenshot of the last sentence of this article, and that is really all I want to focus on, but I know that not everybody is on Twitter, okay? So I was looking online and I found this really weird spin article talking about how Alan Dershowitz was going to help Wayne Williams get the case reopened. And I'm like, okay, he's going to just completely tank the entire thing is what's going to happen. But it referenced an article from 1986. So I found it, took screenshots of it, and converted it into a PDF. And I am going to upload this into my Wayback Machine. That way you guys can have it too. But this is an article calling for them to reopen the case. Because despite what some people say, and I don't know why people still tout the line, because it's simply not true. Because I have that book by Chet Duttlinger, The List. Yeah. Where it shows all the names that were left off of the list, including babies. Okay. The crimes didn't stop when Wayne Williams was arrested. I don't know why people say that they did. They didn't. The safety commissioner himself acknowledges that. But I think that the last sentence of this thing is very haunting. And you can take it for, what it is. And I'm just going to show you guys the cover. That way you can see. So right there, special report, Atlanta child murders reopen the case. And we have a very young Ozzy Osbourne. So that's great. There's that. Now, I am just going to skip to the last sentence because that's really all that matters. Obviously, they're talking about, George Bush coming to town. Because George Bush comes to town. That's kind of weird. Little bit weird, man. Little bit weird. But we'll talk about the specifics of that weirdness at another time. However, right here, this last paragraph. But suppose that Wayne Williams is innocent, then what? It's hard to imagine the effect of his being exonerated. It is inconceivable what the aftermath might be. One, however, gets a sense of it by being in Atlanta, on the streets among the poor, among the mothers who lost their sons and daughters to the crimes that are his cross. This is not a good life. Each day is a search for distractions, not television, but out on the streets, at the Omni, in the parks, and everywhere. These kids live as if Wayne Williams were out there anyway. Not everyone thinks he was guilty, and if he was, the killings have stayed a part of life, all the same. Life as a victim hasn't changed in the projects that skirt the center of Atlanta, and sometimes answers are better than justice. There are a lot of mothers who just want to finally know about the killer or killers. One boy who knew a number of the murdered boys, has nightmares in which he sees his best friend's death, each time a different way, by strangulation, by gunshot, by stabbing. And then he's left with one image of a man, always the same man, with long hair, a beard, and scary eyes. That last sentence freaked me the fuck out when I read it. I'm not gonna lie. It really did. It really got under my skin. And obviously, they don't identify the person's ethnicity, right? So it's like it's a real gamble as a long hair, beard, what have you. But obviously, we have a few options when we're considering the topic here, right? Now, I'm going to basically take you guys on the adventure that I have gone on. I'm going to show you guys a weird person that I found. Because when I looked him up, I found 2 sentences from this like online forum about the child murders. And I just grabbed the 2 sentences because that's all there was. There's not a lot about him. I was looking up, I can't even remember what I was looking up. And it brought up, I think it was like part 14 of 25 of the FOIA requests, the FBI files from the case. For whatever reason, that page that opened up on my Google, there's a gentleman named James Jimmy Commento. And I think that this guy needs to be looked into straight up because I don't really see anything about him outside of this. And when I started digging into him, I was like, I'm just saying, it's weird. Obviously, we're going to talk about Thievis because Mike Thievis, I decided to look in the NOLA archives, and I know that forensics will appreciate this because, you know, the NOLA newspapers have things on lockdown pretty hard. But wouldn't you know it, Thievis and it's 2 other people that he's in business with. I'm going to show you guys because Thievis was having a tough time once some of these theaters started opening in New Orleans. But I made a little map. I don't have it as cool as forensics maps, but I put red dots of every single place that they have listed of their porno magazine stores, their porno theaters. Because Thievis, the Scarface of porn, yeah, looks like they're real close to the process in New Orleans too, right? So that's convenient. Because it's not just looking at what they're doing in Atlanta in particular, because obviously we're going to be talking about Yonge Street. I'm going to keep calling it Yonge, guys. I'm sorry. But let me find this really quick in my PowerPoint because I'm going to show you Commento. We're not going to sit here and read every single thing. But I think it's really weird that this guy was interviewed about the murders before Wayne Williams. He worked for Wayne Williams at Nova Entertainment. And he also had a private meeting with police to get approval for the sirens and radios that were in Wayne Williams' car. So maybe I'm late to the train on this. Maybe I didn't look in the right places, but I think that this dude is sus as hell, and I would absolutely like everybody's take. So let's go ahead and look. Okay, so start over here because this is from the FOIA file, okay? So right here, a friend of his, referring to Wayne Williams, Jim Commento, has been previously interviewed regarding the quote-unquote murders of the children. Jim Commento works part-time at Nova Entertainment. Okay. So Williams stated that he wished to point out that he believes the police have been surveilling the funerals of the victims in the case concerning the murdered and missing children, and that they have probably recorded his father's driver's license tag number on at least several occasions. His father's a photographer, occasionally associated with the Atlanta Daily World. His father furthered... wait, hold on. Where is this with Commento? Right here. In connection with this fact, an associate of Williams, James Commento, was assisted by Mr. Homer Williams in attempting to gain influence with various city officials to further his voluntary first aid and rescue programs. Wayne Williams' association with Commento has been very limited. He has only seen Commento on several occasions since January of 1981. Commento will occasionally do photographic work for Williams in connection with Nova Entertainment. Okay, that's not suspicious at all. I think that this is super sus. Now, Obviously, this is February 17th, 1982. Williams side loses conspiracy maneuver. We're not going to read all of this, but right here. Jim Commento testified that Williams introduced me to a number of public officials and members of the press when Commento was trying to get city approval for his volunteer paramedic activities. Lawmen investigating the city's string of killings had their first contact with Williams before he became a suspect when they came to talk to him about Commento, who is a paramedic. Oh, well, isn't that interesting? So they went to talk to Wayne Williams about Commento. Police were interested in whether Commento held a grudge against the city for denying him the approval he sought. The two first met at crime scenes 4 years ago and became acquainted, Commento said, adding that he once bought a car from Williams. Commento insisted that Williams had permits to operate emergency lights and sirens on his car, although Fulton Assistant District Attorney Jack Mallard pointed out that police could find no record of a permit ever being issued for this siren. I think that that is super suspicious. Next, please. Hold on. This is not going to work for me. There we go. So, who is he? This is him. Okay. That's him when he's young. Whoops. Whoops. There we go. Look at his hair, man. I got to tell you guys. Y'all know when I see a man with good hair, I got to give him his due. He's got some beautiful hair right there. But that's him. Obviously, don't know if he's still alive, so I'm not going to sit here and dox the guy because that would be awkward. Now, this is the sentence that I snagged from the little whatever forum. So it says the Fulton County Police questioned the driver, James Commento, a paramedic, of a car registered to Metro News Productions at Williams' address. Fulton County did not share any of this information with the Atlanta Police Department. Homer Williams and James Commento had visited the home of Jeffrey Mathis in the summer of 1980 after he had disappeared. Jeffrey's cousin had drowned in a swimming pool, and Commento was talking to her to bolster his case for being allowed to use a police radio in his vehicle. Wayne Williams claimed that Fulton County PD had him under full-time surveillance from the time of Luby Geeter's disappearance in January of 1981. And here he is, throwing a fit about this program that they keep addressing. It's just about this program, right? That's all that it's about. That's all it's about. And then here he is again, 1982, testifying. Jim Commento said Williams helped him promote a volunteer paramedic project for Fulton County by introducing him to public officials and news media representatives. Williams, Commento said, was instrumental in the project being sanctioned by the city and county governments. Really? Yeah? Okay. Well, that makes this little meeting right here in April 29th of 1981 a hell of a lot more interesting to me, that they're having a private meeting with Mr. Commento. And sorry if it sounds like pimento. However, am I stupid for thinking that this is suspicious? Because I think that this is suspicious as hell. Williams was instrumental in getting this guy's approval for this. What's up with all of these weird volunteer programs? Because there's some other weird volunteer programs with the Atlanta child murders specifically. But there he is. High school photo. I don't know. Maybe he put something nicer in his hair. I'm not going to sit here and read all of this. But I mean, this dude was really going for it. Okay? He was really going for it. So that's it for him for now. I'm just putting that out there. That way people can, see it, take what they want with it. This is in the 80s, Jack, very early 80s. Technically, the murder started, roughly around 79, but this is in the very, very early 80s. I have more stuff on him. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time talking about him, though, because I kind of feel like it's a waste at this point. I'm just planting the seed. So if anybody knows anything about him, please let me know, because I obviously will be coming back and going through this with a fine-tooth comb because I think that it's super suspicious that Wayne Williams is obviously very plugged in, despite what the FBI wants to present it as. And literally, they're going to Wayne Williams to question him about Commento before they're questioning Wayne Williams about the crimes. The freaking FBI file says that. The newspaper says that it was about him having a grudge against the city, but the FOIA file says that they were questioning Commento about the murders. So what the hell? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what to tell you. Now, as far as this goes, and we're not going to sit here and read everything. You know what? Let me pull up my other PowerPoint because we're going to lay down a foundation for this other topic first. And this is going to suck, but people are going to have to deal with it. I gave you the content warning. Let me find it. Okay. So, that's just a little bit. Wayne very well may have been like an undercover informant. I don't know. I have no idea. There's a lot of stuff that's missing out of this entire story. A lot of stuff. But whatever, maybe it was just a stroke of luck with Google, but like his name was literally the first thing that I saw. And I said, well, let me just look him up. And then I see him in the newspapers and I'm like, well, aren't you a curious boy? What are you doing? And then I see that he's also working for him. Because when we're going to come back, we're going to touch on Thieves, all of that stuff. You're going to see the silly stuff that he was getting into in New Orleans. But I'm going to lay the groundwork for this now. Because one of the biggest arguments in particular, I agree, forensics volunteer organizations are very suspect, especially if they involve kids. Yep, that Guardian Angels one, somebody pointed out on my Twitter yesterday. There was a reporter on the ground in Atlanta, and they had said that the Guardian Angels were there, and it was kind of weird because they had no local support, and they were definitely in New York. That's where they were started. The guy's name was like Sliwa Rock, I think, or Rock Sliwa. I haven't really dug into them too much yet, but let me get back to the point because I'm going to get distracted. There is a constant argument. If you watch my episode about Kenneth Lanning, right? Best thing that ever happened to Satan is that guy. People say that snuff films don't exist. This is something that is constantly pushed. Yes, Curtis Sliwa, thank you so much, Forensics, and hello, McClary's. People say the snuff films aren't real. The FBI says that snuff films aren't real. If you engage with people that like to tout Satanic Panic and Netflix as an argument point, they will say the same thing. Snuff films are not real. So we're going to look at a few examples, obviously not snuff films, articles, showing that that is not the case. Because it's not. Because that debate I will not have with people. I will not have that debate with people at all because I think it's completely ridiculous. And if you've been on my Twitter, you've already seen at least one of these from Mr. Alan Dershowitz taking a real America First approach. Okay. Whoops. Hold on. That's not how that's supposed to look. There we go. All right. So let's see. The Dershowitz one is probably the easiest to read. Hold on. Yep, this computer is just totally freezing on me. Tell me if I'm frozen, guys. All right, so Alan Dershowitz acknowledges himself he would not deny the right of a movie theater to exhibit a snuff film, provided it was not filmed within the United States, or advertised in the press or on the marquees. Yeah? And right here, police probers of pornography are close to acquiring a copy of an 8mm film in which a shapely young actress is actually murdered after participating in a series of sadomasochistic activities. Okay. Now over here, Is this thing super frozen? Oh my gosh, it's super frozen. Hold on, guys. Let me fix this. I'm so sorry. I'm telling you, you can't take me anywhere. This whole thing is frozen. What the heck? Hold, please. Talk amongst yourselves. Give me a second. Why is this thing being a little hoe? There we go. All right, I got it. It's not being a little hoe anymore. Okay. I'm out here fighting demons, fighting the internet demons. Now, I'm not really going to read this last little article, but we're going to see a bunch of articles. It's not just these two. I'm not basing my argument off of 2 articles. That's not how that works. Okay, so now we're back up. Beautiful. Okay, so right here, 1983, 2 snuff filmers sought in killings. Fred Douglas tortured 2 undercover female officers. Wow. And Richard Hernandez, charged with the murder of 19-year-old Beth Jones and 16-year-old Margaret Kruger. Yeah? Okay. Tell me again that it's not real. Or if you want to have the adult conversation about why the FBI won't acknowledge that it's real, but it is what it is. Now, this right here, again, discussing the exact same case. Obviously, this is a bit more graphic. They have reason to believe that as many as 15 models were hired. As far as the movie, well, she's dismembered on film. Okay? And because it's the process and best friends, well, apparently there's dog snuff, and it was being funded by the New York State Council on the Arts. So, some sort of art having to do with shooting a dog. Okay, whatever. Stupid. And right here, report says sex ring tortured children. An alleged molesting ring suspected of killing children for snuff films forced youngsters to eat pieces of a rat and tortured them with knives and torches. Sources familiar with the investigation said they saw a videotape police interview with the 10-year-old child of Arthur Dill, the alleged leader of the ring. Dill and 4 other men have been arrested on 165 charges. And people are going to say it's satanic panic, blah, 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 blah. Don't care. Don't care. Seriously, don't care. Right here. Here's another officer. McMillan has only seen 1 so-called snuff film in Broward. In snuff films, a female prostitute is literally murdered on film after performing sex acts. The one McMillan saw was turned into Broward police by a group of kids who found it discarded in a clump of woods inside a brown paper bag. McMillan thinks the film was made in South America or Mexico. He tossed it into the ocean. And this one right here, those girls. The girls thought that they were going to be paid $500 to be in a porno movie, possibly with bondage. So please, tell me again that it's not real. Now, obviously, we have touched on Leonard Lake and Charles Ng, but I can't really think of a more astute example. So, the remains of a man, woman, and child have already been found on the 3-acre site used by Lake. I would say 5 bags filled with bones, shopping-sized bags, have been taken out. He said the remains could belong to as many as 20 victims. In addition to the bones, more than 40 bags of evidence were gathered, including clothing, jewelry, handcuffs, pornographic photographs, and videotapes showing scenes of sexual torture involving Lake, his companion, Charles Ng, and female victims. Yeah? Videotapes found at the cabin show a partially clothed, handcuffed woman pleading with Lake and Ng to return her baby and being forced at gunpoint to perform sex acts. And right over here, because I'm going to show you guys the next article that refers to another murder cult. But I think that his statement at the end is very interesting. You think the Manson family was scary? You think Manson was a monster? Wait till we get all this together. Manson is going to look like someone who organized Sunday school picnics, one investigator said, referring to Charles Manson, convicted in 71 of ordering the slayings of 7 people in August of 1969. And because everybody wants to say that there's no such thing as a murder cult, right? No such thing. These things aren't real. A lot of this is the same. However, Geneva Southern, a woman who said she helped Lake waterproof the structure, told the San Jose Mercury News that he invited her to attend a meeting of a San Francisco cult that practiced murder. He scared the hell out of me. He said the group believed in life sacrifices, and if somebody deserved to die, they should be dead. And another really ballsy headline. I freaking love it. I love it. Alleged murder cult. Thank you. Thank you for saying what it is, the Gazette, on June 11th, 1985. I appreciate that. Because these things do exist. Hopefully, people have figured out by now that the FBI doesn't want to talk about it because then maybe they would have to do their job. You know what I mean? This says the exact same thing, though. He scared the hell out of me. He said the group believed in life sacrifices, and if somebody deserved to die, they should all be dead. So, now that I have laid that foundation as simply as I can, because I'm not going to have the debate about whether snuff is real or not. I know that it's unpleasant. Obviously, I don't get enjoyment out of talking about this. I actually haven't been looking forward to this stream at all. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I haven't, because this is dark. And I debated doing the topic separately. But I think that right now, putting them all together, it would be a disservice to not show. Because here's the thing about Canada. You know, I told you guys that the university went silent on me. Someone's looking into it. I don't know if it's going to work out. But this stuff in Canada starts to happen the same time that the process shows up. Right? So why is it that where they go, this particular type of insanity happens? I'm not here to give a history about Yonge Street. I keep calling it Yonge. Ugh. I'm not here to give a history about Yonge Street. I'm not here to have the social justice debate about Yonge Street. I don't care. I do not care. It is irrelevant to me. The politics, the identity politics of this stuff is completely irrelevant to me. Because I'm going to show you guys articles. And unfortunately, the 2 crimes, these babies, they are very, very, very graphic. But I think that it's important because I hadn't heard of these until Morgana, one of my subscribers that Eric G introduced me to. She told me about these. I had no idea. I had never heard of these before. And now I see why people are asking for other people to look into these things. Why haven't these things been talked about? Why haven't? Well, we know why, right? I've showed you guys in writing multiple times. Lucian Greaves doesn't think that what he called a vast social outreach program, that it wasn't necessary to document for the public record, right? Do I have to name every single YMCA? No, but I would like for you to talk about the YMCA by here, right here, because the process moves on to Yonge Street. Why in the hell is a church in the porno district? You guys already know what I think. And it ain't for doing anything. Well, all religions are bad, so I won't say that, but you guys know what I mean. I'm not going to say it out loud. So, I'm more focused on this one right here. Young porno promoters plea. Please keep religion off of the street. 1972. The Lower Yonge Street Pornographers Association, or LIPA, yesterday demanded a crackdown on street corner missionaries who are tarnishing the street's image. Larry Leathergood, spokesman for the Merchants Group, told the council that Hare Krishna chanters and black-robed members of the Process Church of the Final Judgment were driving away business by accosting pedestrians and embarrassing them by talking about religion. Okay. Whatever you say. And this guy right here, Mr. Bryce McCasey, this dude is so sus. This whole local initiatives program thing, this whole thing is super suspicious because the process, whoops, they were getting in trouble for prostitution and drug selling. Now, let's see right here. So then people start denying that they approved it, because there's lots of weird reports coming out. People are starting to get upset. They got $25,900 grant. People started backing out real quick. Now, this guy, I'm just going to read this part right here. Aid extended just because of criticism. The federal government has ordered more funds for the local initiatives program projects under fire in the press and the House of Commons. He said outside the Commons that the government decided to extend 2 Toronto projects, one involving the Satanist Process Church, the other a homosexual aid service, for no reason except that they were harshly criticized last winter. Wow, that's a ballsy statement. Now, right here, Process denies prostitution and dope at center. Allegations of prostitution and drug addiction at the coffee house and drop-in center of the Process Church of the Final Judgment were denied Friday. Yeah, of course they were denied. Father Micah, a process leader, said he was distressed to see the same stuff come up again. I bet. I wonder why. These allegations have come up before, were thoroughly investigated, that's not true, and found to have no substance. At a meeting of the Commons Miscellaneous Estimates Committee in Ottawa Thursday, Eric Nielsen read 2 affidavits alleging that drug taking, trafficking, and prostitution took place at and around the Process Coffee House and Drop-In Center. And same thing. A haven for addicts, prostitutes, homosexuals, and drug traffickers. So you really gotta wonder why they would put themselves in that area. Mr. Nielsen asked if further grant applications by the process were rejected because of widespread drug usage, prostitution, and homosexuality on the premises. No, they proposed a different type of project this year. Okay, all right. But see, we've gone through these things, and so we know that they're not investigated. We know that. That is a lie. They have major pull in the press. In Canada, Timothy Wiley talks about it, how they got one of the Mounties, one of the Royal Mountain Police. Like, the dude ended up, like, became a Processian and was, like, giving them a heads up on stuff. And that's really why I want to get my hands on those Canada files. Like, I really want to get my hands on them. It's driving me freaking nuts. And I'm going to look at the chat for a minute before we get into this worse stuff in Canada, because this stuff is really bad. Snuff is real. A theater director of mine, Mr. Sid Goldger, related to me how he had viewed one. He had been in London organized crime. Word was lots of films made in this yellow guest house. Yes, James Hondo. I am going to be coming back to that. Yeah. The footnotes in the back of Chaos. Yeah. We're going to be reevaluating the Polanskis and everybody. I still don't think that it's right. I still stand by my statement. I don't agree with what happened. But we got to look at all of that. Because, like I said last time, or maybe the time before, that's where I think that the Brotherhood of Eternal Love is really going to tie in. Because I do think that the Brotherhood of Eternal Love was involved in human trafficking as well. We touched on that one Senate hearing about them where it literally shows that they're traveling all over the world with fake IDs. No one knows who they are, where they're from, where they're going, right? Because it's an intelligence operation. Yeah. Real counterculture. Yeah. Let me see. Any link with the process and People's Temple? Well, I'm not ready to get into the People's Temple yet. I'm not ready to get into that yet. Because Jim Jones was my first. I always say that. But when we open back up, sorry, excuse my language. When I open back up the Atlanta PowerPoint, that child pornography ring that some of those boys before they were killed, that house. Yeah, one of those guys was in Indiana near Bloomington before he went to Georgia. So I just think that that's really weird. I don't know. I'm not saying definitively yes or no, but obviously I'm going to cross-reference every single tie that I can find. Because I do think that, the process, forensics has this awesome map, specifically in California in the 60s, right? They're all within walking distance of each other. And Jonestown was absolutely a CIA operation. It is what it is. People don't have to like it. I certainly didn't like it. I thought that I had a grasp on Jonestown, right? I was such a nerd. And then I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm a total noob. But I'm sure that there are ties and probably more to be discovered. It's going to take a long time, just like this is going to take a long time. Like I said, this is just, opening up the conversation. That's all I'm doing here. Now, this one, gonna be rough, okay? But it is what it is. This is one of two crimes that we are going to discuss about Yonge Street, okay? Just buckle up, guys. I don't know what to tell you. So, right here. What? Okay. A missing 9-year-old Gerard Street boy, object of a wide search by police yesterday, was found strangled in a room in the Ford Hotel last night. Room clerk Nabil Kasser found Kirkland Deasley lying fully clothed on a bed while making a routine check of the 9th floor room. Police search is underway. He was going to a nearby supermarket to earn money carrying parcels to cars. And that is the little baby. It's very, very sad. And this is the clerk that found him, saying that his life was threatened. The room clerk, who found the mutilated body of a 9-year-old Regent Park boy in a downtown hotel, said today his life has been threatened. Nabir Kasser, 24, said he received phone calls last night and early today telling him to keep your mouth shut or you'll be killed. I don't know what to do, the slightly built Egyptian immigrant said. I am very worried. In an interview, Kasser told how he found the naked body of Kirk Deasley in room 955 of the Ford Hotel around 7 p.m. Friday. At first, I thought it was a girl, he said. I could just see the head with long reddish hair on the pillow. I tried to find a maid to come in and wake her, but I couldn't. He said, then when I got closer to the bed, I could see spots of blood on the sheets, and I got really suspicious about it. Right away, I phoned downstairs and got them to call the police, and then I just had to get out of there. The unmarried Kasser, a room clerk at the Ford for 3 years, said someone had called the hotel several hours before the body was found and asked that room 955 be locked. The caller said there were valuables in the room and he didn't want the maid in there. Police said the boy had been dead 24 hours before he was found. Something I would like to point out here about this gentleman who discovered Kirkland is that not only is he an immigrant who was threatened, they give a lot of details about him, like the fact that he's unmarried, how long he's been working there, his body type description. I think that they basically put a huge target on his back by putting this into the newspaper. And I think that this is super fucked up. Excuse my language. When I read that, I'm like, that man has already been so traumatized. And they're basically just saying, like, hey, here's exactly what he looks like. He's unmarried, and he's not going to be far from this hotel because he's worked there for X amount of years. And don't you think it's kind of weird that they got a phone call that there were valuables in the room and to lock the door? Do we really think that a drifter would do that? They're a drifter. Huh? Maybe? Don't know. Don't know. Just my 2 cents. I think that this is super duper sus. Not going to sit here and read all of this, but these two boys, these cops right here, I'm going to be coming back to them because I found photos of them. Because obviously, I'm going to be coming back and looking at everything with a very critical eye. Now, I thought that this photo was very sad, but also kind of sweet. You know, he just looked like a happy kid. He looked like his dad, I think. It's just very, very sad. It was honestly fucking tragic. This is seriously, it's a tragedy. And obviously, you know, the community came together to support the family the best that they could, right? The best that they could. And one would think that, you know, it happened once. Maybe you don't let it happen again, right? Maybe crack things down a little bit, yeah? But as I'm sure that you can imagine, that is not what happened. Now, I'm going to show you guys one slide. It's not perfect, but just so you guys can see that the process is there because it gives their address. So I'm going to come back and make a map of all of this. But there are obviously a lot of people after that first death that are calling for, you know, the cleaning up of Yonge Street. Because it's disgusting. I'm like, I get that, like, I'm a prude. I don't really care what other people do. But it's like, really? Like, really? You know, like, isn't that what Vegas is for? And I'm not hating on Vegas. I've never been. I actually would like to go because I heard that the buffets are slapping. But I'm just saying, I'm going to show you guys a take from an attorney, the process, letters to the editor. We're not going to read them. I just want you guys to see this picture. And then we're going to see the next crime that is worse. Just worse. So, right here. Don't clean up Yonge Street. It'll curtail the culture. Yes. What a rich culture. Very, very rich, yeah? Okay. Talking about censorship and free speech, right? Okay. All right. There we go. Anyone interested in the Foundation's program can write to Father Lucius at 529 Yonge Street, Toronto. 1975. But they're there before that. And right here, lawyer admits temptation. Deputy Crown Attorney Peter Rickaby, one of the men responsible for prosecuting film exhibitors under the obscenity section of the Criminal Code, confessed at the Star Forum debate last night that when he caught sight of a new second-floor sex cinema on Yonge Street last week called Sodom, his first instinct was to get a brick and hurl it through the window. I could feel the weight of my dead ancestors over my shoulder, he said. This was my gut reaction. But then I thought that if I were a real entrepreneur, I'd open up a place next door called Gomorrah. So that's that. Now, hold please. You guys are just going to see all my PowerPoint. There we go. So, this is the straw that almost broke the camel's back. This is the death of Emanuel Jaquez. He was a shoe shine boy. who was drowned in a sink. And there was a movie. There was a film. What type of film? You know what type of film. And I'm not going to sit here and read all of this. This case makes me very, very, very upset. But obviously, people are pissed, right? People are pissed. Sex strip braces for a crackdown after slaying. And this gentleman to the right, Mr. Joe Martin Jr., bad for business. The murder of a child found on the roof of your establishment is bad for business. Okay. All right. Bad for business, huh? What kind of culture is this? I'd like to ask everybody. People want to talk about like you got to be modern, you can't be uptight. And again, I don't care what people do. I really don't. But what kind of culture is this, right? And why is it just this constant theme of the process being right there every single time? Because right here, 12-year-old shoe shine boy Emanuel Jaquez was hidden in a plastic garbage bag under a pile of debris on the second floor roof behind Charlie's Angels Body Rub Parlor. The boy was drowned in a basin of water after being held captive for 12 hours and subjected to a homosexual orgy, which they filmed. And this is the type of reaction that I am here for. This is the type of reaction that I am here for. Death to all sex criminals. Because they're pissed. Screams of bring back the rope and kill them filled the air Monday afternoon at Queen's Park as hundreds of Toronto area Portuguese rallied to protest the sex slaying of 12-year-old Emanuel Jaquez last week. The young Portuguese shoe-shine boy was lured to a sex shop on the Yonge Street Strip and sexually abused before being drowned in a sink. Another mass demonstration calling for the death penalty for child slayers was being planned for Parliament Hill tonight. I agree. And I kept these two together because it was on the same page. I thought it was kind of apropos. So they're closing down the body rub parlors. But then Scientology is suing the FBI for $1 million. So I just thought that it was kind of interesting when we step back. Because remember, we're looking at everything, right? And so, I'm like, well, that's appropriate. We'll go ahead and keep that in. Now. This one, but right here. So, no comment is necessary on the remarks of Joe Martin, who claims the distinction of having started the Yonge sex strip in Toronto. His words speak for themselves. On the subject of the death of 12-year-old Emanuel Jaquez, shoeshine boy, Mr. Martin is reported as saying, "This murder may destroy us. We are sorry for the family, but it can weaken us. All they lost was a son. But what I built up in 7 years, I can lose in 1 month. And not only me, but the other operators too. All they lost was a son. That is the ugliest thing I have ever heard in my life. That is ugly. They should have took his ass out back and shot him. Now, unfortunately, but I do think that this is a powerful image. August 5th, 1977. Again, keep the time in mind because the article underneath it is why I included it. Police investigating the killing of 12-year-old Emanuel Jaquez says they have seized color film showing the boy being subjected repeatedly to sexual assaults before his death. And that is his mother. after his funeral. It is very, very sad. And of course, right here, because imagine what else is going on. Oh, the mafia is looking for the son of Sam. See what I mean when I'm talking about the bad press that they're bringing? Potentially to, well, if we're talking about the Church of Scientology or if we're talking about the process, they're bringing some unwanted attention. It ain't just in New York. The unwanted attention ain't just in New York. And I thought that this was awesome. I think that these demonstrators, like, I'm here for it. I'm like, hell yeah. I can't understand what all of that says, but I don't care. I'm right there with them. Right there with them. Because I understand that this is like really ugly. I don't like it. It is really ugly. But these things have to be talked about. This is like the thing that people don't want to talk about with the process, and I don't understand why. I mean, whatever, like people are scared of, litigation, and it's like, I don't care. The cult angle is always ignored. The snuff angle is always poo-pooed. And you just saw the photo of a mother, a grieving mother, who knows that there was color film of what happened to her child. And like, you could feel the grief through that picture, like the reaction on her face, like, oh, it's like haunting. But this is why, like, people think that these things are conspiracy theories and that they're not real. We have to talk about it. There's too many similarities between Yonge Street, between Willowbrook, and between Atlanta. There's just too many. It drives me nuts. I'm going to show you one more thing from Canada, and then we're going to move on. Just for the people that are like, snuff's not real. Guess what? Someone got in trouble for it. Right here. Video firm fined for renting out a snuff film. A pornographic film depicting a woman being dismembered and disemboweled. They only got fined $1,200. Wow. Wow. So for $1,200, I don't understand how that doesn't like automatically give you a prison charge, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a hillbilly in the woods, right? Now, let me look at the chat really quick. I also kind of need a smoke, if I'm going to be honest, because this is draining to me as well. Like I said, not a lot of humor. You know what I mean? Let me see. Satanic SRA with gay mafia and network of bars, clubs, toy stores, bats. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not here about the social justice crap. I'm not here about that. I'm not saying that pedophiles are gay people, that they're the same. They're not the same. They're absolutely not the same. I know that the people here are critical thinkers, and so we don't need to have that conversation because that's not what I'm saying. Enough time has passed. These things have to be looked at objectively, and especially in Atlanta, for sure. Absolutely. But like whenever I was like initially looking up Yonge Street, I know I keep saying Yonge, that was like the thing that kept coming up was like this culture battle with, gay rights and the power of the gay vote and this and that. And it's like, no. Don't make it about that. That's not right. And especially like this long later, because there is a very rare book about what happened to Emanuel Jaquez that is no longer in print. And I can't find it. I can't find it anywhere. I know Morgana has looked. I can't find it anywhere. Because like I said, I got Chet Detlinger's The List. Program to Chill hooked me up. Thankfully, thank God. Because, I mean, that dude was the safety commissioner in Atlanta. And, like, the people that say that those crimes stopped and they think that Wayne Williams did all of that, I'm just like, process isn't the boogeyman. You know what I mean? It's not the boogeyman. But they are untouchable. And that bothers the fuck out of me. That bothers me so much. Because why are there rumors of prostitution and dope dealing and they're hanging out and around mentally handicapped children? The YMCA with kids. Why? Why? They were never seriously investigated because they are protected by the intelligence community of both the United States and the UK. Period. That's what it is. I'm hoping, I don't think I'm in here like changing the world or anything. I'm just hoping that eventually, not anytime soon, I mean, God, we've got a long way to go. And I feel like it's a never-ending puzzle, honestly, that's like never going to get solved. But I'm hoping that enough of a stir will be caused that maybe some important people will start asking some questions. You know, because I can only do so much from like my $20 webcam, right? But like, reopen the cases. Let's get it figured out. That's where I'm at. I know previously I've said like I'm not trying to exonerate anybody like in the court of public opinion or at a court of law. That stance is probably going to change here soon. I'm just letting you guys know that. So hold on. Now we're going to go back to Atlanta. Because I'm only going to touch on Willowbrook for like 2 seconds. Because we've talked about Willowbrook here and there. And I'm just going to add it in so the people that haven't seen it, they can see it. But in regards to Atlanta, because not everybody knows all of these things, I'm not assuming that anybody knows anything, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean it respectfully. Please understand that about me. That's what I mean. But as some of you know, some of you may not know, there was a massive child prostitution and pornography ring that was operating right where some boys were seen at that house multiple times. For whatever reason, none of the individuals involved in this ring were ever questioned in relation to the murders seriously. That angle was never taken seriously, even though one of the children was swimming in a pool right by the house of one of the most notorious pedophiles in the case. And then he disappeared. I just think that that's completely fucking insane to me. We're not going to read through every single thing. I just want you guys to see what the newspapers have to say. So, right here. Alleged molesters of boys indicted. 19th of March, 81. 2 men have been indicted on child molestation charges as one result of an investigation into the slaying of one child included on the Atlanta Police Special Task Force list. Fulton County District Attorney Louis Slayton said Wednesday, however, that investigators have found no connection between the men and the child slayings. All the people involved in these charges are white, for one thing. All the slain and missing children have been black. That is some A1 police work right there. Yeah? Okay. All right, whatever you say. And right there, just to show literally that these things are happening at the exact same time, a $100,000 reward offered for information that leads police to the person or persons responsible for the killings and disappearances of Atlanta children in the past 19 months. And over here, more arrests expected in the sex ring using at least 30 boys aged 17 to 7. Well, that number's jumped up quite a bit, hasn't it? Says the investigation began in January when East Point Police Sergeant Hugh Turner, working a burglary case, found a juvenile locked inside a Southwest Atlanta home and a box of pornographic pictures of boys on the property. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Tell me that the cops don't want to do their job. And right here, street kids become victims of city homosexual network. This is ridiculous. Look at all these people now. Now the names are growing. It appears to have been going on for at least 5 and perhaps as many as 17 years, according to Turner, who stumbled upon the sex ring in January during a routine burglary investigation. Look at that. A homosexual sex for hire operation of staggering proportions. Staggering proportions. As many as 30 boys could be involved. Now that appears to have been a ridiculously conservative estimate. You think? You think? And at least here's something with a little bit of brain. All those identified so far in connection with the child molestation ring are white, and none appears to have been physically harmed or coerced, he said. But there are too many parallels between the two groups to go unnoticed. Most of the black and white children are poor and live in some of the city's roughest and most run-down neighborhoods. Turner describes them as ranging from slums in which derelicts and runaways have been found living in abandoned cars and sheds to upper low-class areas in which many people own houses but cannot afford to maintain them. In a recent interview, Mickey, who says he is now old enough to know better than to trade sex for cash, told the story he had already told to the GBI investigators, police, and a Fulton grand jury. I'm tired of having to answer all these questions. Maybe if they would have done their job the first time, some of these victims would have been a little more on board with cooperating with the police. Maybe, but what do I know? And there is the home where this took place. So, truck driver convicted for molestation of boys. This is the exact same person, Wilcoxon. 6 boys testified Monday that they were paid 25 cents to $20 over a period of several years to pose for nude pictures and perform sex acts. This is 66 films, 61 of which included juveniles. Witnesses testified the items were seized at Hardy's South Atlanta home and at a motel room rented by Hardy. 30 years in prison. Okay. All right. Whatever you say. Now here's a real bold claim. This man is no saint. I'm not claiming he's a saint, Brooks has said in his closing argument. He's a homosexual. Unfortunately, he's also afflicted with what they call pedophilia. Should he be punished for having an affliction? The Polaroid snapshots included children from the age of 8 years old. 8 years old. You tell me. Call that an affliction? And right here, Wilcoxon gets 30 years. Tell me that this is not related. Tell me that this is not related. Now, something that I did not know about Mr. Wilcoxon. Where is it? Right here. Wilcoxon had been court-martialed on 17 counts of Article 134 of the Military Code, which prohibits indecent acts with minor children, in August of 1954. Wilcoxon was sentenced to 2 years in a military prison and received a bad conduct discharge from the Navy as a result of these proceedings. That information would have been a hell of a lot more useful yesterday, as Adam Sandler would say. I'm not going to go into too much more on this. I'm going to show you guys one more thing because this lawyer is the biggest piece of shit. Excuse my language. But I want people to see the other things that are going on. Because just like with the Son of Sam, because I'm not done with that, not done with that, not done with the stuff with the UK, not done with California. Best thing about not having a boss, I don't have a timeline. So I can take my sweet time. But I want these 3 topics together in one place because I want people to remember and I want people to understand that this, especially the Atlanta stuff, is very serious to me. It's not funny. It's not a joke. The stuff in Canada, and the Willowbrook stuff, well, we can thank Lucien Greaves and Josh Seaman for that, right? But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to show you one more from this lawyer. Then we're going to peek at Willowbrook, hang out with the chat for a few minutes, and then we're going to leave it be. Because quite frankly, my brain has had enough as well. Yeah, my brain has had enough too. I know that this stuff is unpleasant, but I had to get at least peppered into one stream. Defense attorney says that the boys are guilty. I get that attorneys are supposed to do their job, but holy shit. Right here. The young boys testifying in the child molestation trial of John David Wilcoxon were described today as prostitutes. The boys knew his propensity. I contend they are just as guilty as he is. A guilty verdict will not stop what's going on with these boys. Wow. Wilcoxon and 2 other men, Francis Nathaniel Hardy and Lionel St. Louis, were arrested in March while police were investigating the death of Earl Lee Terrell, one of the 27 murdered Black youths in Atlanta's string of unsolved murders. Do you think that they didn't have a connection to the case, or do you think that they had blackmail on someone? Yeah. He likened child molestation to statutory rape, pointing out that some of the boys had testified that they began their relationships with Wilcoxon as early as age 8.5. I think that this lawyer should also be taken out back and done away with. Because let's not forget that article that one investigator said this had been going on for at least 5 up to what did he say, like 15 years, right? Like 15? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So do we really think that that operation wasn't going on without the knowledge of the police? Especially since kids kept disappearing and being killed after Wayne Williams was arrested. Right? Because eventually I'll come on here. We'll kind of go through some of Chet Detlinger's The List. I really want to get up the names of the victims that were not included in the list. I think that Dave McGowan posits some very, very astute theories as to why, as does Chet Detlinger. And he was like the former safety commissioner. So this guy is not speaking out of turn. He's not telling tales outside of school. He knows what he's talking about. And I would certainly, take his opinion over certainly take it over Lucian Greaves. But, sorry, we're about to talk about Willowbrook for a second, so I gotta bring up Lucian Doug because I can't stand him. Anyways, not going to go through a whole lot, but I did want to bring up in particular the other people, the other children, and the employee that went missing. Because obviously, a lot of people know about Jennifer Schweiger, right? A lot of people know about Jennifer Schweiger. I desperately need to find the Process Scenes magazine from 1972. I need the 1972 issues. I don't have it. I have 1973. I need Holiday 1973 or January 1973, and I need 1972. Because if that program is going on, well, then I'm just not going to argue with people about it anymore. And I'm just going to say what it was. Because it's completely ridiculous to me that this is left out of every single propaganda piece. Obviously, you guys have seen some of this before, right? But right here. Among the other Staten Island cases that have been reviewed by police, Tyahese Jackson, 10, disappeared August 13th, 1983. Right there. Elise Pereira? I'm retarded, guys. Sorry, me. I'm retarded. I can't get it out. I feel like there's like an enunciation there. Pereira, maybe? I hope. 5. Disappeared. July 10th, 1972. 5 years old. I did do a map from De Grimston's on every single address here. Not that far. Anyways, Ethel Atwell, 46, physical aid, therapy aide at Willowbrook, dragged from the parking lot. October 25th, 1978, never seen again. Shen Lee, nurse's aide and a mother of 3, disappeared while at work, July 20th, 1978. Her body, clad only in underwear, was found 2 weeks later in a shallow grave in the Willowbrook woods. She had been raped and strangled. And right here, in regards to Miss Ethel Atwell, she was a mental hygiene therapy aide. Staff members at the cluster of 2-story dwellings heard one scream. Her purse was found on the ground under the locked door of her car, her dentures lying a few feet away, along with several buttons, which apparently had been torn from her coat. And again, because Lucian doesn't think that this is relevant, Lucian of the Satanic Temple, remember there are babes in the woods. A poster in the background bears an appropriate unconscious message. Okay, what are they trying to say? Huh? If I can identify Brother Amos and I find out that he is deceased, then I will just come back on here and I will say exactly what I'm thinking. But right now, I'm not going to. I'm going to leave that alone for the moment. Because obviously I can get a little hot-headed about this stuff. And, I don't really want to talk about it anymore. We're just going to leave Willowbrook as is for now. Because I talked about it 2 streams ago, 3 streams ago, showing Van Duzer, right? We got Van Duzer with Peter Malachi McCormick, 0.1 miles, 3-minute walk from the house that they're tailing, looking for Steve Trackman, right? And there's Willowbrook employees living there, and someone's there wearing the necklace from the Foundation Faith of God. And there's a green VW. What's his face? The guy that it got pinned on, because I don't think that he did all of it. Rand reported sightings of his van, right? Because people like keep saying that there's like nothing in the files, right? And it's a lie. It's a lie. But this is just putting this down. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about today. It has sucked enough of my soul away, quite frankly. It's very draining. It's very draining to me. But I do think that this is very important. I don't know why these angles are poo-pooed. Obviously, I have my suspicions. Do I think that like I'm going to solve them? No, I don't really think I'm that smart. If everybody's brains come together and we could solve something or give answers for something, then that would be a beautiful thing. That would be really fucking cool. Right? I would love that. But I don't think that like justice has been served in any of those situations at all. And I think it's important to keep the story alive. Keep their stories talked about. Not for clicks, not for like reality nonsense. You know what I mean? Because that's not what I'm about here, guys. It's about getting to the truth, but it's also about the victims. Unfortunately, these victims just happen to be primarily children and handicapped children and mentally handicapped children and, you know, proportionately ethnic minorities. But that's just the reality of it. It's ugly. It's really, really ugly. And I don't like it. I get no joy out of it. But, you know, I'm not going to change the way that I'm doing it just because of the topic. If I find somebody weird, I'm going to show you the weirdo that I find. Like Commento. Because there's something up with that dude, Commento. Pimento. I'll call him Pimento. We'll call him Pimento for fun, right? Just like Terry Mori. Timo, right? We got Timo, and then I've got this new guy, Pimento. We'll keep little nicknames, right? And that'll be our, like, slight hint of joy in these topics. Because I don't know when I'm going to come back and talk about the Atlanta child murders. Because eventually, like, yeah, I'm going to just talk about that by itself. Just like I do with every other topic. But I wanted to get this out here. Because as you can see, I'm in a new space. But I'm not going to be here for long, right? Because, like, whatever. It's not like I'm on the run. But I'm just saying, like, I don't have a home right now. I'm on the move. Just wanted to lay this down, get it out there. I wanted to show you Pimento because I think that he's sus AF. But, you know, that's it for now. That's all that I wanted to bring forth for the time being. And Rabbit Hole Wiki. I have not looked at everything that you have sent me. I got the first 3. And also, I'm glad that you're here so I can say thank you so much. Seriously, I really appreciate it. But I haven't read through everything. People have been bombarding me with information. And I'm not saying stop. I'm not saying that. People have been bombarding me with information and it's very difficult when I'm like on the move. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to make anybody feel ignored, guys. Please understand me. I do not want to make anybody feel like what you're trying to get to me is not important. That is not the case. But I just feel like my brain is going to explode sometimes. And so, like, I kind of go radio silent. Please don't take it personally. I'm doing the best that I can, right? I'm doing the best that I can. We all are. We all are. And it'll be fine. I think I said I was going to bring it up here, and I'm not going to because I feel like it would just be disrespectful to the topic. I am going to wait until my next stream. And this isn't me trying to be evasive, guys. Like, seriously, it's not. But, like, I want to show it on a stream with me about the threats. but I don't want to do it on this topic. I feel like it's gross. So I'll show it next time, because the other video's been up long enough for if the person was acting of goodwill as they stated that they were, that ship has sailed. That chance has sailed with me. So we'll just kind of leave that at that. But I want to like show you guys and talk about it. So maybe I'll just like hop on tomorrow and do like a little short thing, whatever. But this is done. I'm leaving this alone for a little while, at least on the screen. Okay, I'm leaving it alone on the screen. I'm obviously going to be working on it on my end, but I'm leaving it on the screen for now. I think I've left enough for people just to kind of consider, because Yonge Street, like, not everybody knows about that. That blew my mind. I was like, who the hell is Emanuel Jaquez? Who the hell is Kirkland Easley? You know? And obviously the Willowbrook stuff, you guys were here when that happened, because Virginia found that magazine. And then all of y'all in the chat were going nuts. And you guys were like, that wasn't in the documentary. And I'm like, what documentary? So, like, we're all on this journey together. You know what I mean? But I want to leave it here for now. I think I've at least given enough information to chew on. And, yeah, maybe I'll just do like a little pop up or something. Hopefully, the Wi Fi was better today, guys. I can only pray. Because I'm not like super tech savvy. I know that this, don't let the schizo clips fool you, okay? Because I do all of that on my phone. I am not tech savvy whatsoever. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the exit, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. And thank you for being here.